We welcome our Nigerian viewers and viewers around the world. This is Galaxy TV News. Let's get things started. President Muhammadu Buhari presents budget of 16.39 trillion naira to the National Assembly. Plus on the news, Federal High Court in Abuja sentences son of former chairman of the Pension Reform Tax Team, Faisal Maina, to 14 years imprisonment. And outside Nigeria, at least 20 people killed after earthquake strikes Pakistan early on Thursday. We have details in just a moment. And now, wherever you're watching from around the world, we're live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly Egiga. On our first story, President Muhammadu Buhari has presented the 2022 budget proposal of the sum of 16.39 trillion naira to a joint session of the National Assembly. The 2022 appropriation bill is tagged Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability. Galaxy's Godfrey Shemogi has details.
This is President Buhari's third budget presentation before a joint session of the National Assembly. And the 2022 budget is the last one to be fully implemented by this administration before it draws to a close. President Buhari says the country is up to date in the aspect of debt servicing. He stressed that borrowing, however, remains a huge necessity to keep the country functioning.
We plan to finance the deficit mainly by new borrowings, totaling 5.01 trillion naira, 90.73 billion naira for privatization proceeds and 1.16 trillion naira drawdowns on loans secured for social development projects. Some have expressed concern over our resort to borrowing to finance our fiscal gaps. They are right to be concerned. However, we believe that the debt level of the federal government is still within sustainable limits. Borrowing at specific strategic projects and can be verified publicly.
Buhari spoke further on the key areas the expenditure for 2022 will be channeled to.
The proposed expenditure comprises a statutory transfers of 768.28 billion naira, B, non-debt recurrent costs of 6.8 trillion naira, and C, personnel costs of 4.1 trillion naira, D, pensions, gratuities, and retirees' benefits of 577 billion naira. E, overheads of 792.39 billion naira, and F, capital expenditure of 5.35 trillion naira.
Earlier, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan had commended President Buhari for the budget focus, saying that in 2022 it is important, therefore, to prioritize the completion of ongoing projects.
The distinguished and honored members of the National Assembly remain committed to working on the 2022 appropriation bill and pass it before the end of this year. Mr. President, the Nigerian economy and indeed our citizens are benefiting from the early passage and assent to the 2020 and 2021 appropriation bills now acts. 2022 budget should target at completion and consolidation of the projects already started.
Among the key indices for the 2022 budget is a crude oil benchmark price of $57 per barrel and daily oil production estimate of 1.88 million barrels per day at an exchange rate of 410 naira 15 kobo to a dollar. Godfrey Shemogi, Galaxy News, Abuja.
Now, let's stay with that story as joining us live from Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State to give further insights to this development is Professor Sherifdeen Teller, Professor of Economics from the Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye. Thank you so much, Prof, for agreeing to speak with us on the news. The proposed budget is titled Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability. I wonder what your exact thoughts are about the 2022 budget and perhaps your expectations in terms of targets set by the federal government.
Thank you very much on this issue. I think that the budget is the highest so far, and it also has component of highest deficit so far also, which is the cause for concern. The budget is titled Economic Growth and Sustainability, but I can see that capital expenditure is just 1/3 of the budget, and that simply means that we may not have the desired growth that we are talking about there. Maybe sustained growth of what has been done before. Maybe the elaboration by the minister tomorrow will give us that. But for now, it is very clear from what is on ground that we have not been able to witness sustainable growth, as it were. And I think that the budget, 16.39 trillion, is very huge. But we'll see that it may not be, if we look at the fact that the Naira has been devalued recently from about $350 per barrel to dollar to $1. 350 Naira to $1. Now, 410, but that's the word the president gave. 410 Naira to $1. So it's just a matter of a multiplication, as it were. If you have to discount it to what it was in 2019 or 2020, it will be lower than that. So they are expecting that there will be more money from oil, and by the time it's monetized by the central bank, they will have more money. But the fact that we are thinking of having 6-point-something trillion as a kind of deficit, I think that gives a serious concern, particularly with the fact that they have said that we are going to engage in more borrowing. The current borrowing is of concern. We look at the GDP to the debt to GDP, but what should be looking at is the debt to revenue, and revenue has been giving us concern. The minister may be able to tell us how much has been done concerning improving revenue, as it were, because if you are even thinking of improving on taxes, tax is dependent on income of individuals, of businesses, and all those things. So if the income of those categories are not growing, you cannot expect a higher level of tax, because in the last 2-3 years they have widened the tax base. And they cannot, of course, impose higher tax on people at this particular period. People are paying more for almost everything, increasing the cost of production and cost of living. So they cannot expect them to add more taxes. But the fact is that if there's need for growth, I think I have not seen it in this budget. So what you'll be thinking about, of course, is to start engineering that growth so that income can increase, and then we'll be able to derive more taxes from it. We'll be able to have more employment opportunities from it. The explanation by the minister may be able to tell us all that. But from what the president has said, we cannot see it really clearly from there.
Prof, I was just wondering, based on the total expenditure, does this mean Nigeria can probably have a debt-free 2022?
Not really. The president has said that they are going to borrow more, and that is the big concern that we have. We are going to borrow more, he has said it. So by the time they start borrowing, we won't be making noise. But it's better we say it now that sometimes when you are in this kind of situation, you try to cut your coat according to the size of your cloth. We shouldn't be thinking of borrowing. When borrowing is also giving us problem now, in the sense that we are spending more of our revenue, repaying debt, servicing debt. So we have little or no money for development, as it were. If you are spending over 60% on debt servicing and debt repayment, and we are also spending another 20% on overhead, that is payment for administration. Then what is left for development? That's the basic thing we should ask that. So the government, the president has already said they are going to borrow, so we should expect more borrowing. But we are saying now that that borrowing may not be necessary if you have to start thinking that you have to cut our protagonist size of our plots.
Well, fascinating insights. Professor Sherifdeen Teller, Professor of Economics or Labinsi or Onabanjo University in Agwewe. Thank you so much for speaking with us on the news.
Pleasure having me. Thank you very much.
All right, now to other stories. The Federal High Court in Abuja has sentenced a son of former chairperson of the defunct Pension Reform Task Force team, Abdulrasheed Maina, to 14 years imprisonment. The trial judge, Okonabang, jailed Faisal after finding him guilty on all the 3 counts of money laundering involving 58.1 million naira in public funds. Faisal, whose father is also facing separate set of money laundering charges involving 2 billion naira before the same judge jumped bail and stopped attending his trial since last year. Justice Abang, who revoked the defendant's bail, ordered that his trial proceeded in his absence. Faisal was absent from court when the judge read the judgment.
Well, our next line of action is obviously we'll look at the judgments. Then we'll decide which way to go from there. But of course, we are saddened by the fact that our client's whereabouts as we speak up to now is still unknown. We had thought the court would have at least taken an inquiry into his disappearance. The police reported that they had him in custody. Then all of a sudden he disappeared. We had felt that the court should have asked what happened to him if they said they had him in custody. But whatever it is, the court has delivered its judgment.
And now to security stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State at the presidential villa Abuja. State House correspondent Oke Nabuchi reports that the meeting came barely 24 hours after the federal government had threatened to invoke emergency rule as part of measures to address security challenges and safeguard the electoral process in the state. Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami on Wednesday warned that the federal government may be forced to impose a state of emergency in Anambra to ensure peaceful conduct of the forthcoming gubernatorial elections in the state. Stakeholders in Anambra, including the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), had raised alarm over the increase in cases of violent attacks on individuals and government facilities in Anambra as the governorship elections in the state draws closer.
Well, I just finished a meeting with the president, and I mentioned it, and the president didn't suggest that. The president is firm. He wants a peaceful election in Anambra State. He wants a free and fair election in Anambra State. That's the president for you. But if people in his party are going around making insinuations, using his name to do things, the president clearly told me that he does not support that.
And a bit of party politics. The National Executive Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has approved the recommendation of its committee to zone the position of the national chairman to the north. National Police Secretary of the party, Kola Lobodion, briefed journalists after the decision after the NEC meeting, which was held in Abuja on Thursday. Now, based on the decision, all positions in the party currently occupied by people from the south will go to the north, and those occupied by people from the north will go to the south. The PDP NEC also retained the scheduled dates for the party's convention. It is scheduled to take place on October 30 and 31. Watching the news on Galaxy TV, we're due for a break. We'll be back in just a moment with more reports. Join us again. You're welcome back. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Now, for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our Eyewitness feature by WhatsApp. Simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comment. Ahead of the 2023 elections, politicians in the country have been urged to desist from overheating the polity. The Archbishop of the Cathedral of St. James's the Great, Most Reverend Joseph Akinfenwa, who gave the admonition at a special service for the opening of the 2020-2021 legal year in Oyo State, also charged the judiciary to remain neutral as an important arm of government. Correspondent Kunle Ojo completes the story.
The beginning of every legal year offers men of the bench and bar the opportunity to seek God's guidance, blessings, and direction in the discharge of their constitutional duties. In Oyo State, judges and lawyers, as well as members of the State Judicial Council, converged on the Cathedral of St. James Okebola in Ibadan and the Central Mosque Ojaoba for the commencement of another legal year. Addressing judges, lawyers, and other stakeholders, Most Reverend Joseph Akinfenwa decried the state of the nation, adding that Nigerians are groaning. The cleric cautioned politicians in the country to desist from eating up the polity ahead of the 2023 general elections, while he enjoined the judiciary to remain focused.
2023 seems to be far on the calendar. I checked it this morning again. It's still far. But our politicians, they have succeeded in bringing 2023 closer to us. In the build-up to 2023, our judiciary, you will need plenty of divine wisdom.
Most Reverend Akinfenwa used the opportunity of the event to appeal to the federal government to honor its agreement with the resident doctors as well as judiciary workers in the country, while he also called on Governor Seyi Makinde to ensure the return of missionary schools in the state. On his part, Governor Seyi Makinde commended the harmonious working relationship between the executive and the judiciary arms of government in the state, adding that his administration has enhanced the welfare package of judges in the state. The Chief Judge of Oyo State, Justice Munta Abimbola, said logistics and security, especially for those at the remote areas of the state, remain the major challenges facing the judiciary in Oyo State.
So if we are going to keep hope alive for a better Nigeria, that hope should be hinged principally upon the performance and the integrity of the judiciary.
Let me place on record that the judiciary will be getting unprecedented capital budget inflow in the 2022 budget currently being processed by the Oyo State House of Assembly, as an additional 6 billion naira in capital project funding has been included in the budget.
The major challenge is that we are constrained in respect of logistics. That is to say, the environment in which we work might not be conducive, or it's not, I will not say conducive, because if you go to outstations where judges are supposed to stay, and at least all throughout the week, because of the challenges of accommodation and security.
High point of this year's occasion was the inspection of guard mounted at the premises of the Oyo State High Court by the Chief Judge. From Ibadan, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
Now, the Nigeria Labour Congress has advised the federal government to adopt social justice as the formula for addressing the issue of peace and stability of the country. NLC President Ayuba Wawa gave the charge at the Decent Work rally held to mark the 2021 World Day for Decent Work in Abuja on Thursday. He held that workers are in a precarious situation whereby what they earn is not enough to sustain and cater for their immediate needs, saying that decent jobs and wages are very central to peace and security of any nation.
A system that does not cater for the weak and the vulnerable. A system that is made for the powerful. A system that only caters for the powerful. And therefore, all of us, the weak, the vulnerable, the working class, the pensioners, the destitute, we must come together and challenge the system so that we can have social justice. There must be social justice for everybody.
Labour leader also identified casualization of workers as a major challenge, stressing that permanent workers that have been converted to casual workers are being denied social protection, and in most cases, their labour standards are being undermined by their employers.
Many of our members in the informal sector and in the private sector, where the issue of casualization is so perverse. Casualization is akin to modern day slavery. Casual workers don't have social protection. Casual workers work more than 8 hours a day.
Now, in Ondo State, the security network, popularly called Amoteku Corps, have rescued a popular cement dealer in Ogun Waterside, Folorunsho Sakirudin, from the den of kidnappers. And Sakirudin was kidnapped on Wednesday evening by 3 gunmen at Antonio Junction, Ogun Waterside. The 58-year-old cement dealer was rescued by Amoteku with the support of vigilantes and security agencies. Now, one of the kidnappers was killed in a gun battle, while one escaped through the bush. The third member of the gang was one of the 6 suspects paraded by Amoteku Corps, while an Amoteku operative was injured in the operation. Meanwhile, the Amoteku commander in the state, Adetunji Adeleye, said the operation was made possible through intelligence gathering.
Tayo Ibrahim, that is arrested here. This is Tayo Ibrahim. Then there is another Fumi Adenoye and one Kule. They engaged one Alhaji Shakirudin, age 58, that resides in Uwopi, area of Ogun Waterside.
Yesterday, about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, so I come out from my workshop to house. Immediately I come out from my car. I see 3 people to come and arrest me, which is kidnapper. Carry me from Iwobi to Ondo State.
Fumi Conte Baba say he get $10 million. Baba say you no get $10 million. Say no get $10 million.
How much you can't say you get?
Later on we gonna say Baba, we gonna tell Baba say you won't pay $2 million.
Now, the new Commissioner of Police in Ogun State, Larry Bankole, on Thursday assumed duty at the command's headquarters, Abeokuta. The new CP, a graduate of English language from the University of Lagos, hails from the Lagos Island local government area of the state. He was received by the police management team in Ogun State after inspecting a guard of honor. Now, speaking to newsmen, Bankole assured members of the public to expect a better quality service delivery in terms of security.
Briefed by my strategic leaders, there is already an operation order on ground to tackle the peculiar crisis in Ijebu-Aziz. And where there are some gray areas, we make sure that those gray areas are clear to ensure that life returns to normalcy in Ijebu-Ode.
Our correspondent John Felix reports that the new CP got promoted to the rank of Commissioner of Police in June 2021 and was posted as CP Interpol, Force Criminal Investigations and Intelligence Department in Lagos, where he served until his current appointment as the new Commissioner of Police, Ogun State Command. Now to Benue State, where the Police Commissioner Tunji Akingbola says maintaining a zero-tolerance crime-free society is achievable if the public and relevant stakeholders provide veritable information that will assist them and other security agencies in nipping crime in the bud. Akingbola made this known during his maiden press briefing at the command headquarters in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, while parading suspected criminals arrested for various crime offences. The commissioner said to be able to read the state of various crimes and criminality, such as farmer header crises and other violent crimes, identified strategic areas to look at, one of which is calling on Governor Samuel Ortom to regularize the administration and operation of the community volunteer guards to support the police.
We encourage His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom, the Executive Governor of Benue State Administration, to regularize the administration and operations of the Community Volunteer Guard to support the police. I am going to ensure that innocent persons are not detained unlawfully and denied their liberty.
I am Okadama. The other day I carry one man for machine going to Ukari. Then they come and arrested the man. And then the police say I should also carry my bag inside motor and follow the man. That's all of it.
Where were you arrested?
From Ukari.
Ukari.
I was loaded with railway iron.
Okay.
So I was in the process now. Then finished loading it and we're on our way out. Then the truck sink because the place is on Thai road. So we were sleeping around 1 p.m. like that in the night when the truck break down there. So then the police now come and arrested us.
Because we are cultists, that's why they arrest us, come here.
They are cultists? What the name of the cult?
Blast Corps. They arrest us last 2 weeks, Thursday.
The Commissioner of Police also promised to respect human rights, vowed to clamp down on cultists, recover unlawful firearms and seek collaboration with sister agencies to tackle crime in Benue State.
Which each economic and academic institution no doubt attracts high population and attendance ratio of criminal element. The police are expected to keep track and ensure the streets are safe. No security initiative is complete in the present circumstance without recourse to intelligence generated through our numerous platforms.
And still tracking security stories, following directives of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, to all military formations in the country to commence various military operations, officers and men of the 34 Artillery Brigade, Obinze in Imo State, have commenced exercise Golden Dawn with campsite in Olu axis of the state. Now, speaking at the official flag-off exercise, the brigade commander, Brigadier General Raymond Ushaha, said the exercise is aimed at curbing the activities of criminals during the festive season. He said the choice of Olu for the operational base of the exercise is to enable security agencies consolidate on the already achieved peace in the state.
It is also aimed at building on the gains made against the renegade IPOB, particularly in Imo State and in the southeastern part of Nigeria in general. The exercise is supposed to last up till the end of December.
In his speech, the governor commended the army and other security agencies for their fight against criminals perpetrating insecurity in the state.
To the officers and men of the various security agencies who are participating in this program, I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart and to assure you that government will continue to stand by you, encourage you, and support you. We are not unaware of the sacrifices you make to secure our state. In return, I can assure you that we will show sufficient appreciation.
And away from security stories, a professor of geography and regional planning from the Department of Geography, Faculty of Social Sciences, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Ago-Iwoye area of Ogun State, Bamidele Badejo, on Thursday, said climate change is threatening the survival of generations yet unborn. Professor of Geography who said climate change has come to stay, however, lamented that the increasing demand of motorcycles in putting the country on high risk of climate change. He said this on Thursday during the 20th lecture organized by the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Ogun State branch, held in Abeokuta, the state capital. Badejo explained that there is high vehicular emissions from motorcycles that put the country at risk of climate change. The Professor of Geography and Regional Planning stressed that there is high gas emissions which had negative effects on the society.
We are encouraging increasing use of commercial motorcycles. Politicians are even giving out motorcycles for empowerment. And we all know that motorcycle has a very high volume of gas emission. All this high gas emission has negative effect.
The Professor of Geography, however, noted that the country is yet to discover the economic, environmental and political consequences of climate change. He lamented that despite different legislations and a public lecture was to celebrate late surveyor Sonya-Olu, who had used his wealth to render service to humanity.
Scientifically, there are geospatial data that are needed to help in determining and solving all these problems. So surveyors give real-time geospatial data all over the world to see to how all these problems can be evaded.
My approach now is that what I call advocacy.
And now the perception about wildfire in the country. A cross-section of speakers at a symposium organized by the United States Consulates and Fulbright alumni.
Speaking on officers, U.S. Consulate General Stephen Ube said the wildlife sector in Nigeria has enormous potentials which are yet to be tapped for rapid socio-economic development. He added that poaching forest reserve to danger, while most of them are gradually going into extinction. He barely expressed the readiness of the U.S. Consulate to assist the country in repositioning its wildlife for economic growth and development. On his part, the acting Vice-Chancellor, University of Ibadan, Professor Adebola Ekanla, represented by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Administration, Professor Kayode Adebowale, lauded the initiative of the U.S. Consulate General, adding that the institution remained committed to making positive change in this direction.
A number of endangered species like pangolins, elephants, the cross-river gorillas, gray parrots, and more. These species actually come from all corners of Nigeria, though they are in danger of losing the habitats they call. And the University of taking it down from putting our thinkers over University of academic benefits.
In their presentations, Professor Lajumake Muranikeji from the Department of
Up north, they joined engaged in so much advocacy and are glad that the bill has seen the light of the day. Abdulaziz also said the bill, which gives equal rights to persons living with disabilities, will help reduce the plight of PLWs in Kaduna State.
But I become to realize that I'm personally...
Faso has more.
The Olu of Obomo informed the Olu.
And now to other stories.